Hello. I'm going to record two segments from my Video Caroline programs, starting off with this afternoon's segment. I'm going to try kicking off with our fanfare opening using the screen share capability.
You're tuned to Video Caroline, the best TV over the seven seas.
Yes, indeed, you're tuned to Video Caroline, and that's supposed to be my opening fanfare. And when I play that back, I'll see how it works. Now then, anyway, let's get into the proper program. So good afternoon and welcome to Good Afternoons with KD, in which yours truly pontificates upon anything that comes to mind and also reads a chapter of my Oliver Twist sequel, Fagin Returns. But more of that anon. First, what's the weather got for us? Well, today has seen dry, bright and rather warm weather across many parts of England and Wales, although there's been some rain spreading east later today. Cloudier and breezy further north and northwest will be followed by outbreaks of rain, heavy at times. Tonight the rain will spread eastwards through the evening, then easing and mostly clearing overnight, followed by clearer conditions with some showers in the west. Tuesday will be bright and breezy with sunny spells and scattered showers, though many places will avoid the showers and remain dry throughout, so I hope it doesn't rain on you. The outlook for Wednesday and Friday. The outlook for Wednesday to Friday is bright and breezy with some blustery showers on Wednesday. Thursday will see a spell of rain along with strong winds, and Friday will also be wet and windy at times. News-wise, the Nigerian Islamist militant group Boko Haram says it will sell the hundreds of schoolgirls it abducted 3 weeks ago. I fail to see how that actually fits in with what I understand to be the teachings of Islam, but perhaps one of my Muslim listeners can enlighten me about that. In Northern Ireland, there's been a bit of a unionist backslash following the release of Sinn Féin's Gerry Adams with no charge. And in London, a 3-day strike by London Underground workers due to start this evening has been called off. Both sides are claiming some sort of a moral victory for common sense, but Transport for London say they'll be going ahead with closing ticket offices just the same. Now, the social policy think tank Civitas, or is that Civitas, says that membership of the EU has not given the UK any insider advantages in trade with other European countries. Its study finds no discernible impact on UK exports of goods to other member countries from membership of the EU or its single market. The study also questions claims that collectively negotiated EU free trade agreements, otherwise known as FTAs, benefited UK. This will no doubt be welcomed by UKIP's Nigel Farage, who says he will fight back against criticism his party is racist by highlighting the party's black and ethnic minority candidates in its local election literature. Meanwhile, a new opinion poll has given UKIP a 3-point lead in the race to get most votes in this month's European elections, with 29%. Labour was second on 26%, the Conservatives on 23%, and the Lib Dems on a mere 10%. And now for today's instalment of Fagin Returns. Fagin escaped from the condemned cell and became a rich sugar planter in the Indies. He has changed his name to Cohen and returned to Britain to reward those who got him out of jail and get his revenge on whoever conspires to put him there. The shantyman in the ship which brought him back to England has come to Scotland Yard to alert Chief Inspector Grabwell of Fagin's return. Chapter 6, in which Ratty blows the gap. Chief Inspector Eustace Grabwell regarded police informants, blowers, as they were known to the criminal fraternity, as a necessary evil. He preferred them to come to see him in Scotland Yard, where their discussions could not be overheard, but few ventured to enter the portals of the police, new and freshly furbished as they were. Not that the inspector's habitat would have impressed them much. His eyrie, as appropriately he described us, was in actuality an attic high in the eaves of the building. A tall man, he was constantly banging his head on the beams which traversed the tiny room. It must be confessed that he did like his mug of stout, though not usually during the day, so when he heard from his Tilbury informant, a seaman named Ratty by his comrades, that he would be ensconced in the public bar of a nearby Whitehall hostelry and would be willing to quaff an imperial half-quartern, or more likely 2 or 3, at the expense of his friend in blue, if chance should bring them to the brass rail together, the inspector sighed, put on his navy serge topcoat, and walked the few hundred yards from Great Scotland Yard to a tavern known as the Old Shades, up the road near the Trafalgar end of Whitehall. He was not surprised to find the public bar devoid of his informant, for he knew that Ratty would be unwilling to put his hand in his pocket for even a small half-pint, and the publican was unlikely to accommodate such as he if they proved unwilling to pay for the privilege. And true enough, barely had Grabwell paid for the 2 mugs of dark ale than Ratty was at his side, blowing off the froth and gulping down a large golloper of the brew. "Here," said Ratty, sighing a deep sigh of contentment and wiping a grimy cuff across his lips. "Is it true what I've been hearing, as you've asked for any news of an old Jew and his associate who scarpered from Newgate some years back?" Grabwell made no reply, it being his experience that betraying any interest in any possible information would automatically increase the charge on the privy purse. Ratty took another swig and then said, "I think, as your Jew and the other fella being my friends, the Mistress Thweedle's lodgings up Tilbury way, I expect you knows her address, don't you?" Now the inspector had a cardboard box filled with all manner of such data, but he couldn't record such a name as Thweedle. But since he knew such an admission would also enhance the price, he merely murmured a non-committal Ratty's glass being now empty, Grabwell signalled to the barkeep for a refill and awaited further enlightenment. "3 of them there is. The old Jew calls himself Cohen now, a slightly younger bloke, and a big tall black fella who speaks the Queen's English better nor you and I, though he being a heathen from darkest Bongo-Bongo-land. All dressed up in fancy duds." Dear me, all dressed up in fancy duds, they is, the Jew and his mate, and even the darky in a black frock coat. I smelled serious money soon as they come on board in Jamaica. A bit frugal with the tips, of course, but then he's a Jew, ain't he? Not known for generosity. Oh, he give me a thin, a tanner and skin, for finding him lodgings with Mistress Thweedle. Said Grabwell. "Never mind, Does my information interest you or not?" "Sir?" Grabwell pressed a half-sovereign into his hand and got up to go. "Keep me informed, please." "That I will, Governor, that I will," said Ratty, and seeing that there still remained an inch or 2 of brew in Grabwell's Grubwell's abandoned grass, he trained it too, and vanished, swift as the rodent whose name he was known by. On Wednesday, Chapter 7, in which an urchin is enlisted in Cohen's search. Okay, well now I'm going to put an end to this Monday. Okay, so now I'm going to put an end to this Monday afternoon show and go to an early recording of a segment for Tuesday evening, which is the Political show. Stay tuned while I change my dress, as the saying goes.
You're tuned to Video Caroline, the best TV over the seven seas.
Yes, the best TV, it certainly is. Hello, my name is Carl Dallas, and welcome to the first edition of the Politicos show. Today's program is sponsored tonight by Nota, the anti-austerity campaign which has spread nationwide from Bradford. Nota is not putting up any candidates in the local elections, but where all candidates support or do not actively fight the government's austerity cuts, it suggests voters should spoil their ballot papers by writing "none of the above" across the bottom. Politically, UKIP, the Farage one-man band, continues to dominate the political headlines. You'll no doubt be pleased to hear that the social policy think tank Civitas says membership of the EU has not given the UK any insider advantages in trade with other European countries. Its study finds no discernible impact on UK exports of goods to other member countries from membership of the EU or its single market. The study also questions claims that collectively negotiated EU free trade agreements have benefited the UK. Meanwhile, Mr Farage says he will counter criticism that his party is racist by highlighting the party's black and ethnic minority candidates in its local election literature. A new opinion poll gives UKIP a 3-point lead in the race to get the most votes in this month's European elections, with 29%. Labour were second on 26%, the Conservatives on 23%, and the Liberal Democrats on a mere 10%. By allowing UKIP's anti-immigration agenda to go unchallenged, indeed, Mr Farage is not saying anything that was not said by Gordon Brown's urging of British jobs for British workers several years ago, and no one seems to be challenging his right to call his party the UK Independence Party when it lets the economic domination of UK by foreign capital go unchallenged. Here's a brief examination of this issue. And here's where I'm going to try and insert a YouTube examination of this question. So stay tuned while I go to YouTube. Now, I can't see bear to Yeah, no, no. Now, I'm searching here for, good job this isn't the good job this isn't the regular program because you've been sitting there waiting. And I don't even know if this is going to play. But anyway, Yeah. I'd be interested to see if that actually um, gets into the program, because I've tried to embed YouTube into previous experiments and it didn't work. Anyway, I'm going to say good afternoon now. Um, Good Afternoons with KD won't be on air tomorrow, Tuesday, but it will be on air on Wednesday. So, bye.